It was one of the roughest, toughest, muddiest GNCC races we've seen in quite some time. And those are the conditions where Brian Wolf seems to shine. He won with a big lead and put himself on the map of genuine contenders for more wins in 2011. Time to go racing in the Can-Am Grand National Cross Country Series. Racer TV, as always, giving you the coverage. Jason Wygant, your host, for a brand new event on this tour, the Rock Run GNCC in Patton, Pennsylvania. Brian Wolf, well, wait a minute, that's not Brian Wolf. Family members for Brian Wolf are excited because their dad has come out and won the previous event of our tour in the mud of Indianapolis. We will find out if Adam McGill, Chris Borich, Taylor Kaiser, the rest of the GNCC contenders can make a comeback charge today and upend the upstart. Borich certainly a favorite. He is your series points leader. But it was a tough one for him and the rest of the field at our last event, which was muddy, and this one is muddy as well. Here are your GNCC track facts. We expect to do 4 12-plus mile laps in the 2-hour allotted time. And as you can tell by the name of this event, a lot of rocks on this racetrack. So riders will have to be very careful not to bend up their equipment, especially early on when they're trying to figure out where the good lines are. Our amateur race is just about wrapped up, so our pro and expert riders are headed to the starting line, and we're going to tell them to shut the engines down so we get set to go racing.
10 seconds, and the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at our Rock Run GNCC.
The classic 10 seconds call from Rodney Toblin, and we are underway, bumping and banging into turn 1. Jeff Pickens with another good start, but no, going to get edged out by Brian Cook on the Farr Racing Enterprises KTM. That team owned and operated by Tim Farr, one of the legends of ATV motocross racing, and they have put Cook, the North Carolina native, into the #1 spot. But back in black, Brent Sturdivant, we have not seen in a while, with the orange and red gear on the black machine, is in the #2 spot behind Cook. And here we are, headed to the woods for the first time, and I'll tell you what, these type of conditions, Sturdivant out of West Virginia usually goes fast. The rocky tracks are always a specialty of his. Haven't seen much of Sturdivant this year. He's kind of known for these one-off, real fast, early in the race type of rides. I don't know, though, if he can pull off that kind of magic against this field. We've got lots of competition here, including Chris Borich, your series points leader and defending champ, the 3rd spot early on. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, why are these guys going so slow through the mud? They're basically trying to keep their hands as clean as possible early in this one. And the rest of the track here, they're just trying to figure out where to go. No practice or pre-running at a GNCC. They're learning the track as they ride it. Looks like you still have Pickens up front. One of the Can-Am riders, it's either McGill or Bithell. They've been strong all year, is up front, and Brian Wolf is 5th. So Wolf, who won our last race, is in good position to challenge for another one today. But out of the open stuff, it's Brian Cook, who has had a decent but not great run on this KTM the last year and a half. He has won GNCC races before, but he's yet to do it on that machine. There is Wolf, last week's winner, on the white Honda in the back of this train. But it's Cook over Sturdivant. Borich, as we're getting into that rocky terrain this event is known for. Looks like Wolf has moved up to 3rd. Then it is Pickens and Bithell, and everyone else is trying to figure out how to stay out of trouble on a very rocky racetrack. You would think there's a lot of room to pass out here, but you venture off the main race line and hit one of those boulders, and you're going to be in big trouble. You have to be so careful on these rocky tracks. Although the equipment has come a long way, there was a time where flat tires were a huge issue on these ATVs. They now all run a product called tire balls, which are basically giant basketballs or tennis balls, beach balls. It's a concept like that. You put a bunch of these in your tire, and it's basically like having an unpuncturable inner tube inside the tire. They displace the hard impacts of the rocks all the way around the tire equally, so they don't flatten out. And that has made a big difference with how aggressive these riders are able to get. you know why this thing is called the Rock Run GNCC, man. It is rocky. How about that? Back of the train here, the pro riders, is Walker Fowler, who comes from the second row, the XC2 class. So he has already made up a bunch of ground. As we go back up front, Wolf leaning on Borich, Sturdivant leaning on your leader, who is still Cook. The rest of these riders trying to sort themselves out, but watch out for the young kid as we watch Adam McGill work his way forward. Walker Fowler not too far back either. Brian Cook pulling away a bit here at the Rock Run GNCC in Patton, Pennsylvania. Jason Wygant, your host for Racer TV. Most of these riders are trying to get a feel for this very difficult race course. Boulders are just hidden all around this facility, so you get off the main race line and you are going for a ride, but not a fun one. So if you're wondering why these, the fastest woods ATV riders in the world, are just kind of cruising around, it's because they don't want to take chances. Now you see to get to a section like this with good dirt, and they put the hammer down. Brent Sturdivant, Brian Wolf, and Chris Borich are all close to each other, and now closing in on Cook. And look at that line there by Wolf on the left side, and it pays off. He makes the move around Sturdivant for second. It's Barry Hawk with our GNCC helmet cam on the bike, tucking in. Trying to give us some footage later, and Taylor Kaiser was next. Look at how tough this track is. They're all trying to avoid that mud on your left side, and looking around, trying to find lines. And our cameraman trying to find the leaders. It is tough when they get to these sections. You don't know where they're going to go, and neither do they. Look at Adam McGill there with a quick pump of the brakes, and then these two almost come together. There's the number 10 of Johnny Gallagher, going to wedge it between two trees and make a couple of passes. Kevin Yoho on the lucky number 13. This is where the race is going to be won and lost, to these rugged sections. Here comes Fowler, who we had said had hooked on to the riders in the pro class earlier. They have put a little distance again between themselves and him. And you can see why. A little bit faster pace now up front. Borich up to the number 3 spot. He's looking to make moves. Sturdivant 4th, and Taylor Kaiser 5th. There's Bill Balance, your 9-time GNCC champ, battling with McGill. You saw Johnny Gallagher battling with McGill there in the woods earlier, so we've got action all over the place. Balance trying to close back into the leaders with McGill right behind him. There goes Gallagher, and there goes Yoho. So it is still close between our top riders. Oh, there is Bithell, who was up in 3rd earlier, though. He has lost ground. And Pickens just waved Walker Fowler around him. So Fowler has now passed one rider from row 1, starting on row 2. And look at this terrain here. This is what I'm saying. If you get off track on this Rock Run GNCC, your day is over. And hopefully just your day, and a whole lot more than that could be as well. So you got to be careful, as Fowler has caught the back of Yoho. Now we're going to hook on with our AMSOIL helmet cam. Barry Hawk going to take us for a ride. Here we are following Eric Hoyland, who is one of the XC2 riders. And you hear how gentle you have to be on the throttle on these rocks. Very treacherous race course, and Brian Cook has led all the way around so far, but you've got to wonder, when will this track strike? Brian Wolf still second. Borich, Sturdivant, wow, it's tightening up. Look at this. Balance, McGill. You saw Kaiser come through. Bithell's back in the hunt. Johnny Gallagher, Yoho, and Walker Fowler is still there. And Fowler has adjusted time on his side. Fowler started 1 minute behind these riders on row 2. So basically, if he finishes within 59 seconds of the race winner, he will win the race on adjusted time. And you can see now, though, everyone's sprinting. Woo! McGill threading the needle around Sturdivant to make a pass. They have all upped the pace here on lap 2. And look at them jockeying for position. In fact, Wolf goes to the lead. Well done by Brian Wolf. Puts it into the number 1 spot, and Borich going to try to follow him past Cook. Borich into the Suzuki pits. Will Wolf stop? Yes. And so will Cook. So now it's a battle of the pit stops to see who can get in and out faster. Wolf on the GT Thunder ride. Wait a minute, Sturdivant doesn't stop. Brent Sturdivant goes to the lead. Will he have enough fuel to keep going? Look at this battle. Stay with us. battle is on here. Grand National Cross Country Racing. Jason Wygant doing the call. Brent Sturdivant leads. Chris Borich, Brian Cook, and one gnarly field of ATV pilots. It's just almost hard to keep track of it all, really. Bithell, McGill, Ackerman, Balance, Gallagher, and the kid, Walker Fowler, from row 2, is right in there with this group. There's Borich in second, Kaiser, and Fowler around the outside of Cook. Cook makes a mistake, and Fowler puts his Yamaha up to 4th on the track physically, but that would be first overall because of the adjusted time. Big mistake there by Adam McGill, and what we would call an overcorrection as he tries to straighten that thing out. But that is the torrid pace. Bithell is in there, Balance is in there. I cannot keep track of who is where. And now suddenly we have a change for the lead. Chris Borich in the number 1 spot over Kaiser and Fowler. Then it is Wolf and Cook. Then Bithell. So the Suzuki boys have the pit boards out. They've got their man where they want him to be. And Borich in and out of this mud hole. Kaiser right behind him. Then Wolf. How about Walker Fowler? The 18-year-old kid has gotten caught up in this group, and he is running the pace. Now, where do riders like Walker Fowler come from in this series? They come from our morning race, which is for amateurs and up-and-coming stars, but also a whole bunch of guys that like to go through the mud on big 4x4 ATVs as well. Now, Fowler actually came through the ranks of the youth division, which races at 8 a.m., and then this 10 a.m. amateur race, we get our women, our beginners, our 4x4 riders. We throw them into a big old jumble on a 12.5-mile track and see who can come out first overall. And, of course, they are scored separately in their classes as well. On a rock run GNCC course, you got to figure four-wheel drive is an advantage, and the heavy hitters of the open 4x4 class battling it out today. And in the women's division, the veteran Tracy Checo beginning to have a bit of a renaissance here over the last couple of rounds. She won our last one. You also got to watch for Dave Simmons in the super senior class. These riders can all contend for the overall victory for the day. Brian Buchanan is your defending champion of open 4x4, and he is running strong so far today. There's Rick Checo on the power bar Can-Am trying to track him down. Tracy Checo still leading the women's class, but I want to give you an idea of how close the competition in that division is. Checkered flag coming out after 2 hours. Checo takes the checkered flag. There's Kristen Atwell, and then Angel Atwell, third in the class. And then Dave Simmons comes in right behind them, and on adjusted time, Simmons will take the overall victory. Congratulations also out to Brian Buchanan for winning open 4x4. Tracy Checo with the women's division win. And now we switch back to our afternoon race, which features a course even rougher, because all that racing this morning just makes the holes bigger, the ruts deeper, and these boys are going to have to be fit to run strong to the end. Now the question is, with Walker Fowler, the 18-year-old up there, how long can he run this pace? Borich trying to get away from Kaiser. Then it's Wolf, Bithell, Fowler still right there. Bill Balance running strong, battling it out. Brian Cook has gone a little bit further back than he wants. This is just tremendous racing, and even Adam McGill is not that far out of it after that big 360 that we saw earlier today. Now into the rocks. That's how this event got its name, and you can see Kaiser has closed back up on Chris Borich. These two no strangers to each other. They pretty much spent the entire last season battling each other wheel to wheel. See Johnny Gallagher in the 10 being kicked around, battling through those rocks, but he has gotten around Cook. So Cook has definitely gone backwards here. A couple of fans giving a thumbs up to Chris Borich. Going to try to lead them through the pit area and finish line area again. Wolf has now gotten around Kaiser, so he's back up to second. And the distinctive green-colored number plate of Walker Fowler is one to watch. Green because he's in the XC2 class, which is for a combination. Riders kind of coming through the ranks. They have pro-amateur status, whereas Borich is a full pro. Running hard. Here is Fowler into his pit. That's his dad on the right, mom on the left, helping him out. That didn't take long. They've got him going. And so far, 18 years old again, able to maintain the pace, but he better watch out. He's got McGill right there. What is this? Borich and Brian Wolf gesturing toward each other. I don't know, maybe Borich doesn't want to lead at this point, but look out, you got Kaiser and Bithell not too far back. They will take advantage if the pace slows up front at all. Look at this battle. Kaiser putting it in front of Bithell for third. White flag coming out here. 1 lap to go. Borich over Wolf. Now Bithel trying to get Kaiser back. Stay with us. Chris Borich putting the hammer down and trying to get away on the final lap of this Rock Run GNCC. Brian Wolf all over him. Taylor Kaiser. Chris Bithel right there as well. And you've got to worry about Walker Fowler on adjusted time. They need to get more than 1 minute out front of him. He just went by there on the blue Yamaha. So a bunch of different stories to follow. Up front, Borich there on the Suzuki, battling with Wolf, who's on a Honda. They are your physical leaders on the track. Then you've got Kaiser and Bithel battling for 3rd and 4th. And this man on the move, Johnny Gallagher on the number 10, gonna lose a spot to Adam McGill, and then Fowler following McGill through, and that could help Fowler because McGill is on a charge, and that might help Fowler stay within 1 minute and win this thing overall as you still watch Kaiser and Bithel fighting over 3rd and 4th. Then the 7 of Fowler still right there. And what about this grudge race? Wolf won the last one, but it was under dubious circumstances. It was so muddy and rainy in our last event, they cut the race a lap short. Borich was saying he didn't have that extra lap he needed to get around Wolf and take the win. So now it's a heads-up fight between those two, and you've got to worry about Fowler trying to take it away from them on adjusted time. We're into the Rock Garden, and they're going much faster through this section than they were earlier. It's the last lap, you've got nothing to lose. So it's still Borich over Wolf. Bithel, no, McGill. McGill has made great strides on the final lap and a half of this event, and he still has Fowler behind him. These two are pretty good buddies off the track. I would not be surprised if Fowler just says, I'm gonna try to stick with McGill, follow him home, and hope that I can be within 1 minute of whoever wins this race physically. And I don't know who it's gonna be. It could be Borich, Wolf, Kaiser, Bithel. If you're Fowler, though, you're in a good spot. Here we are through the rocks, and it is still Wolf behind Borich, and a lap rider in the way. He wisely gets out of the way and lets the top 4, Kaiser, Bithel, 3rd, 4th, roll through. Then you've got McGill, and now McGill has put a little distance between himself and Fowler. But was that 1 minute? I don't think it was. So Borich has got to put the hammer down. He's headed toward the finish. Chris Borich is going to win this thing physically. He has pulled away just a bit from Wolf on the last lap, but has he pulled away by over a minute on Fowler to win this overall? I'm not sure. Great ride by Wolf. He has shown that he has the speed to run with Borich. He couldn't top him today, but heck, everyone in this tour has been struggling to figure out how to do that over the last 3 years. Chris Borich is going to be the first to get to the checkered flag at the Rock Run GNCC. But is it enough to win the overall? We'll be watching. Nice run by Brian Wolf to take 2nd. But here's the kid. 18-year-old Walker Fowler from row 2 is well within a minute of your leaders, and he wins the overall on adjusted time. Unbelievable racing today. Check out the results. Fowler, Borich, Wolf is your top 3 overall. Kaiser and McGill strong in the class. They just lose a spot to Fowler. Bithel went backwards at the end. Let's go to Krista with our winner.
Walker Fowler taking the overall here today at Rock Run, all the way from the XC2 class. What a great day for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't even know how to feel right now. It was such a crazy win, and like I said, I don't even know what to feel, what to say.
Well, tell us a little bit about your race.
I got a real good start from the back row, and Dustin Knipe set a good pace out front, and I passed him right before the finish line here, and I just pushed real hard, and I knew I was going to catch up to these guys, and luckily I caught them in a real good spot, and they set a little bit of a slower pace than I'd like to go, and I don't know, I got up with them, got in the mix. When everyone fueled, I didn't, and got up to about 3rd overall physically, and I knew if I could stay right there, I'd be good.
All right, well, you did a great job out there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Show you the point standings here in the XC1 Pro class, and Borich actually extends his lead a bit over McGill because he was the top XC1 rider in this one. Fowler, by the way out front in XC2 points. Give you the Can-Am race recap. Early on, it was the KTM of Brian Cook out front. He led Brent Sturdivant and Chris Borich. First lap was kind of tame, though, and like Fowler said, the pace was not blistering out front, and that allowed Fowler to close in. Then by lap 2, the top XC1 riders hooked up, and they were battling hard. But watch around the outside. Fowler had skipped his pit, and he was right there in that mix, and he let the XC1 riders basically pull him along all day. Boric had the lead for a while. Kaiser, Wolf, Chris Bittel, Adam McGill, they all put on a good run. But Fowler was still there within that 1 minute that he needed to land this overall victory. Boric would hold off Wolf down the stretch. He's your first XC1 rider to the finish, but Walker Fowler makes history, the 18-year-old, your overall winner. Congratulations, and thanks for watching Racer TV.